What's happening, Captains? It's me, truly the dumbest. And today, I'm running it back. As you've seen by the title and the thumbnail, I'm running it back. Months ago, I think maybe months ago, like 2 months into my YouTube career thing. I don't know what to call this. My YouTube stint. I made a video, an idea for a rework to the Nightmare, Freddy Krueger, and I still think it's my worst video. Of course, you would know if you watched it or watched the Predator rework that I did not like the video, because that's the first thing I mentioned is how much I did not like my Freddy video, and that still stands. It was very jumbled. It was very weird. Everything wasn't really looked through, so all the power and add-ons and perks and stuff were all weird, bad. Same thing with my Predator video, but I don't feel like going through that yet because, I'm already doing this one and I'd rather not just rehash a bunch of content I've already had. So I decided to do Freddy since it's the original thing, or since it released before the Predator. This is already starting off to be jumbled. Something, not proud. Let's run it back, do it again. Now, what we're going to be doing here today is exactly what we did before, but it makes more sense. I don't need to build anything up. We're just going to jump straight into it, just like a man who's dying of heat stroke. We're going to jump into that pool and swim around. That was terrible. All right. So of course we're going to be starting off with the power. Now, before we get to the power, let's talk about just the Nightmare's base kit. The difficulty, height, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure this is exactly the same that it is right now, but I have listed here. The difficulty would be moderate, at least in my opinion. Maybe it'd be hard. It depends on how truly intricate all the stuff of his power would be. I don't really have a lot of super insane details, just the base knowledge of what you would need for the power to actually function. But yeah, difficulty moderate or hard. I could even hear an argument for very hard, but beyond that, that's the difficulty I've set. The height is average. The tear radius in Lullaby, it's 32 meters. The Lullaby, that 32 meter thing really means nothing. I'll go into Lullaby more later, as well as tear radius, but that's kind of just the baseline of it, I guess. And the movement speed is 4.6. Your average killer. Nothing too special there. So, time to get on to the nitty gritty, I guess, of the power, which is the power itself. So starting off, power, the Dream Demon. Holding the power button or using a basic attack will pull survivors into the dream world. Pulling survivors into the dream world using the power button will grant half a dream token. Pulling survivors into the dream world using a basic attack will grant half a dream token. You start the trial with 3 dream tokens with a maximum of 8. The dream meter fills passively over time. Special ability, Dream Illusions. While in the loadout section of the menus, using the power icon will open a selection menu showing 5 icons: a generator, a window, a pallet, a totem, and an exit gate. All icons will be grayed out until 2 are selected. While using the active ability button on an objective, the 2 chosen objectives will be blocked entirely. Any objective not chosen will become illusions and will not block the objective but alter its appearance to make it seem blocked. Blocking a generator, exit gate, or totem will cost 2 dream tokens. Blocking a pallet or a window will cost 1 dream token. Illusions do not cost dream tokens. The objective will stay blocked for 15 seconds. Illusions will stay for 30. When a survivor approaches an illusion, awake, it will dissipate upon impact and that survivor will fall asleep. When asleep upon impact, the survivor will be hindered by 10% and their aura will be revealed. The effect lingers for 5 seconds and that illusion will dissipate. This takes 0.5 seconds to block objectives and place illusions. There's a 10-second delay between blocking objectives and 3-second delay between placing illusions. Before entering a game, the loadout icon will glow and indicate if the illusions were checked beforehand. A little couple something else to add. That doesn't make sense. A little something else to add. Base-wise, my thoughts would be generators and pallets would be blocked by default. So if you don't go in and edit or choose what objectives you want blocked, it will automatically default to generators and pallets. So, yeah. moving on. The dream world. When pulled into the dream world, everything around survivors will change to match the twisted mind of Fred Krueger, distorting the environment with walls that aren't there, buildings that disappear, stairs that don't exist, hallways that are just dead ends, all of this in a twisted sky to mess with the survivors further. Little note, using flashlights will temporarily put holes in the illusions to show if they're fake or not. Essentially, you flash your flashlight, and then you'll see what's actually in front of you. While in the dream world, survivors hear a lullaby rather than a terror radius. While in the dream world, the nightmare can be seen intermittently from 24 to 16 meters away. Any closer, and the nightmare can be seen clearly. While awake, the nightmare can be seen intermittently from 20 meters to 10 meters away. Any closer, and the nightmare can see clearly. So, really, all this is just kind of what Freddy does right now. I don't actually now that I think about it, if this is better or worse than Freddy's current dissipation thing. But for those who don't get it, essentially, within the 24 to 16 meters away, the Nightmare Freddy will basically appear and disappear at random, kind of like the Spirit does base kit normally. While survivors are asleep, it's within 26 meters or 16 meters. While awake, it's 20 to 10 meters. And any distance outside of that, and he's gone entirely, you can't see him whatsoever. Any distance within that, survivors can see him just normally. He's just a normal killer by that point. So, yeah. Moving on to falling asleep. When the trial starts, a timer will begin for each survivor. Each timer has 4 pips. Each pip takes 8 seconds to complete. Upon all pips completing, the survivor will fall asleep. Survivors can wake up through clocks spread throughout the trial. Survivors can also wake up through stopwatches and slow their descent into the dream world with pills. Every time a survivor falls asleep, 3 out of 6 clocks will activate around the trial at random. Clocks take 5 seconds to wake survivors up. When awake, survivors can scavenge the desks clocks sit on to find either stopwatches, 35% chance, or bottle of pills, 65% chance. Only when awake can survivors find stopwatches in clock desks. Watches are portable clocks with 3 uses. They do not take up an item slot, but they do require you to drop your item to use them. Stopwatches will take 10 seconds to wake survivors up. Only when awake can survivors find a bottle of pills in clock desks. Each bottle of pills has 1 use and is used for slowing the time it takes to fall asleep by 8 seconds. Essentially what this is doing is giving survivors more options to wake themselves up. Because although it's not mentioned, ideally in this rework, survivors will no longer be able to wake each other up, which I'll mention in a sec, and they cannot wake themselves up through failed skill checks. So to balance that out, I gave them a more unique set of options to wake themselves up. On top of that, I guess not really on top of that, but also, I really have no idea if 8 seconds is too much or too little. I feel like a good in between would be 4 seconds to 10 seconds. Somewhere in there, I feel like is a good time for the pills to extend, your sleep deprivation clock meter thing. Moving on from that, though, we have interactions. Survivor interactions. When asleep, survivors cannot interact with awake survivors, as I just mentioned. This is to kind of give the feeling that one survivor is in a different realm than the others. From my knowledge of the movies, which I have not seen in a while, because this is, as it said, and I don't think I actually mentioned, this rework is based more off of Robert Englund's Freddy rather than the 2011 movie. You'll very clearly see that the second I start talking about add-ons. But from what I remember, maybe I could be remembering improperly, survivors in the dream world can't necessarily interact with... Okay, now that I think about it, that's just wrong. There are actually thousands of moments when they interact with each other. Nonetheless, I feel like survivors being cut off entirely from each other makes the experience a bit more immersive and makes it a bit harder to face, because I feel like waking up other survivors is kind of I feel like that's a bit not too strong, but unnecessary. Especially since I don't really think this will make Freddy a far like higher up killer strength wise. This whole thing is entirely intended to make him a more enjoyable experience, not necessarily to make him a lot stronger. Although I do think this would make him far stronger. Nonetheless, I want to move on to the Nightmare's interactions. When in chase, the Nightmare's red stain will spin at completely random speeds and directions. I mean, essentially, when you're in chase in the dream world, Freddy will just like his stain will just spin around to make it a lot harder to track where they're going. Maybe that's a bit too strong. Maybe that can be turned into an add-on. But I think it's pretty funny, and it sounds like something Freddy would do if he had the option. So that's that. And for the passive effects of the dream world, for every survivor asleep, the Nightmare will gain a 1.5% speed increase. So at max, you'll have a 6% speed increase. As we've seen from Skull Merchant, 6% is jack shit when it comes to passive effects. So I feel like this would make him a bit stronger in chase, but not too oppressive. And for every pip active, the survivor will gain a 2% decrease in repair and cleansing and healing speeds. So that's 8%. Once again, not a whole lot. Could be a problem if stacked with other things. Maybe a bit too harsh on that front. But I think it's fine for what it is on paper. So moving on. After 30 seconds of being within the dream world, survivors will be affected with the hindered status effect by 5% until awake. Just kind of making it feel like sleep deprivation. The more you don't sleep, the worse things get, So I'm adding some status effects, some negative status effects for if not waking yourself up. Just making the dream world feel like more of a present threat than it is right now. A lot of this rework, beyond making Freddy play more like how Freddy would actually play, it's kind of just buffing the dream world, giving it a presence. Because at the moment, the dream world is completely useless beyond getting use out of your ability. So I feel like making the dream world a more present threat makes it feel more immersive, I guess, is really the only word I can describe this as, apparently. But onto the final status effect. After 45 seconds of being within the dream world, survivors will be affected with the exhausted status effect until awake. So once again, same explanation for the hindered thing, but you become exhausted because you're exhausted, you haven't slept, or you haven't been awake, or I guess you haven't slept for 45 seconds, how dare you. But yeah, that's it for his power. Pretty, hopefully, it sounds a lot more interesting. Hopefully it'd be a lot more fun, and more importantly, hopefully it feels more like Freddy. When it came to coming up with a power for Freddy, it was honestly pretty hard. Because you gotta find a good balance between being Freddy-like while also being strong, without being oppressive, which genuinely was a hard balance to find. But I think I found a good balance here. I gotta stop saying Nonetheless, though, that's all I have for this bit. I don't want to linger on it too much because I know the add-ons and perks are going to be taking up another 20 minutes or so. So I'm just going to move straight on to the add-ons. All right, we're now done with the power. Moving on to the add-ons, and starting off, we have the common add-ons. Burnt flesh. Your scars give you a sick, funny bone towards pain and suffering. I take it back. I'm not going to read the flavor text. I'm just going to be reading the thing in the actual effect. When a survivor triggers dream illusions, you gain a 5% speed increase for 5 seconds. In theory, this should be fairly effective if you have all survivors asleep. But 5%, once again, not a whole lot of a speed increase for hate or for chase or all that. So yeah. Mounted TV. Whenever you charge your ability, you and the survivor you're in chase with will have a spotlight casted upon you. So you gain 100% blood point increase in the deviousness category. So a reference, obviously, to the prime time bitch line. Everybody knows the line. So essentially, whenever you're charging your power. So whenever you're placing a vault or like an illusion, there's a huge spotlight that shows where you are. And if you're in chase with a survivor, or for every survivor you're in chase with, they will also have a spotlight cast upon them. So kind of like a double-edged sword, in a way. Just trying to make a funny, ridiculous meme add-on. You guys know me. I like coming up with really out there changes. Now on for the power glove. When a survivor enters a locker, when within the nightmare's terror radius, they'll be forced out. Nothing too special. This is kind of a niche one, but I feel like once again it'd be a lot more fun to have, I guess, such a weird ability. I feel like this could also work as just a buff for Iron Maiden, but I have a different idea for a buff for Iron Maiden that I might talk about around anniversary, so look out for that. Yeah, just not really, like, just kind of fun, just fun add-ons. I feel like Freddy thrives off being ridiculous. So, dumb fun add-ons, dumb fun power, just dumb fun stuff. Nothing super strong. I don't have an explanation beyond that. So, going on to the last common add-on, the gardening glove. Vaulting speeds are increased by 1.25% per survivor asleep. So that would be 3% faster vaulting speed. Once again, nothing too strong, just a little thing to help with chase. A lot of these add-ons actually will help a lot with chase. Considering I took away Freddy's dream projection as a part of his main kit, I figured making chase a lot stronger would be helpful. So yeah, that's that. Mechanical Claws is the first of our uncommon add-ons. The amount of dream tokens taken per use of a dream illusion is reduced by 50%. So essentially, blocking in a generator will take 1 token. Blocking a pallet will take half a token. Nothing too drastic there. Maybe it could be lowered to 25%. Maybe 50 is a bit much for an uncommon add-on. But that's why I need to test stuff, and I do not have the ability to test stuff. So moving on to boiler room scraps. Whenever a generator reaches 50%, while sleeping survivor is working on the generator, you gain 2 dream tokens. Another niche add-on. Like I said, I like doing some dumb fun add-ons, just some more niche ideas, stuff that could make for a really nice, I guess, build combination, stuff to just make Freddy feel more engaging, give more variety to his ability and what he can do with perks and stuff. So yeah, nothing too complicated there. Going on to Severed Fingers, decreases dream illusion charge time by 15%. Nothing a whole lot there, just maybe 10%. If 15% is too much, I wouldn't know. I can't test this stuff. Green Trenchcoat. When in the dream world, if a survivor fails a skill check, their auras will be revealed for 5 seconds. Nothing too drastic. I believe there is a green version kind of this add-on in Freddy's current kit. A couple of these add-ons I moved from his power or his current power, buffed them, changed them around, and moved, just kind of made them more fit for this power, because there's a few add-ons, despite Freddy's lack of anything. There's a few add-ons that I feel like are pretty good and have some chance, some opportunity of being, useful. So yeah, if you see anything that kind of repeats that, that's my excuse for that. But that's that add-on. So moving on to Look of Terror. When a survivor is damaged within the dream world, the nightmare gains a 5% speed boost for 30 seconds. Kind of just another one of those dumb fun add-ons. I really don't have an explanation. I should probably stop trying to explain these things because I don't have an explanation. Most of this stuff I just thought would be fun and useful for a chase, or just in general. That being said, though, we're going to be moving on to the rare add-ons. Our first rare add-on is Blood Snare. It almost started reading the flavor text. Triggering Dream Illusions inflicts exhaustion for 20 seconds. And triggering Dream Illusions will inflict survivors that are hindered by 10% for 5 seconds. Now, I do realize that this would imply a 20% hindered on survivors, and I did not think about that until this point. I would say the best course of action for that would be reducing this or reducing this to 5%, and then maybe reducing the base kit to like 5% as well. But as it is, with 5% instead of the 10, taken into account, once again, not too strong, just kind of a fun add-on that makes chase easier for the Kruger. So nothing too special. Also, of course, a reference towards Dream Snares, which would be, removed in this power. Moving on, though, to Torn Photo. The Nightmare starts the trial with 5 Dream Tokens. The Obsession starts the trial with Sleep. Nothing too special, nothing too fancy. Kind of just one of those, like, Myers add-ons, Obsession-based, Marge Thompson. You get the stuff. You get it. Waterbed, our next one. While asleep, survivors, when walking within your terror radius, place pools of blood that can audibly be heard by the Nightmare. Essentially, just his current swing chains add-ons, but a bit more specific and a bit more distinct. I feel like hearing pools of blood splashing around is a bit better than hearing just louder footsteps, but nothing for me to add on there. Worn Jump Rope. The Nightmare's lullaby becomes 35% quieter to all sleeping survivors, essentially giving Freddy more of a stealth aspect. Once again, another wacky add-on that I really don't know would be too strong or too weak. With that being said, of course, as I'm sure we're all used to now, I have nothing to add on. So, Tuft of Sweater. After being stunned, if the dream tokens are available, all vaults within an 8-meter radius will be blocked. When a survivor activates an entity block on vaults, if the dream tokens are available, all paths within an 8-meter radius will be blocked. Okay, so this one I will explain a bit, because I do have stuff I like to say on this one. This one's another one of those funky ones, of course, I'll get that out of the way. Essentially, for those who don't get it, after you're stunned, any vaults within a certain radius will be blocked, as if they were, no matter if you have them as illusions, if you have them as objective blocks, they'll be blocked entirely for the 15 seconds that they're blocked for. And then if you activate an entity block, vault things 3 times in a chase, all pallets will be blocked. Basically, kind of, in a way, punishing survivors for being a little loosey with their vaults, and then giving Freddy kind of a bit more of an advantage when getting stunned. And like I said earlier, a lot of these add-ons I like to build add-ons around just making, like, I guess, synergetic builds with perks and stuff. I feel like this has a lot of synergy with a lot of things. So, yeah, just kind of a fun add-on to make playing Freddy a bit more interesting. But that would be it for the rare add-ons. So now it's time for the very rare add-ons. Finger Syringes. When the survivor hits... That's not right. When the Nightmare hits a survivor, they'll be inflicted with the hemorrhage status effect for 45 seconds. Sounds of footsteps are 50% louder when the dream world... Now this right here is just a better swing chains. This one right here is just above swing chains a bit. Giving it a bit more... I guess just giving it a bit more in general. Yeah. Bedside Coffee. While asleep, survivors no longer see the Nightmare intermittently. All survivors are blind while asleep. So basically, this is just cutting down the distance you see Freddy from 24 meters to the 16 meters. Just giving it, once again, a bit more stealth, while also keeping survivors on their toes. Just more stealth, more sneaky stuff, Just making Freddy a lot stealthier. That's pretty much it. That's all I need to say, was making him stealthier. Dusty Fedora. When a survivor enters the dream realm, the Nightmare's lullaby will be hidden for 20 seconds. If a survivor wakes up, if the survivor wakes up while the effect is active, that survivor will become oblivious for the remainder of the duration. Essentially, another stealth thing. A kind of a niche one that just kind of does all that. Burning Pipes. Triggering dream illusions forces all survivors within a 20-meter radius to scream, revealing their positions. So this one is kind of just like a sellout add-on. It's like if you're in chase with a survivor and there's another survivor healing right next to them, and then they trigger a dream illusion and they scream. Another pretty niche add-on I feel like could be made into something good. Maybe a buff or maybe a second effect could work on this one, but you know, just something I thought would again be fun. A lot of this, I just try to make Freddy more fun if I'm being real. With that being said, I'm time for the last of the add-ons, the ultra rare add-ons. Starting off with finger knives. Survivors start the trial asleep. After 30 seconds, the survivors wake up. After 15 seconds of being awake, the survivors fall back asleep. While awake, survivors will intermittently see the dream world. Survivors cannot forcibly wake up, and the nightmare cannot force survivors to go to sleep. The dream illusion meter charges 100% faster. The nightmare is granted 6 tokens at the start of the trial and gains them back by survivors activating already placed traps. This is basically a combination of the current bottle of pills, the add-on, and the red paintbrush, or the iridescent paintbrush. This one is definitely a bit weirder. This is a lot more out there compared to most add-ons that I make, which is saying something. I really don't know how this one would play out. I think it'd just be really interesting to get like a true micro sleep add-on. I think the only problem this thing could have is the dream illusion meter. Maybe bring it up to 150%, but of course, like I'll always say, that's something you'd have to test to see if it's too much or not enough. That all being said, though, time to move on to the final add-on, Chest of Souls. The Nightmare can only select one objective to block during the trial. I have that written as black, though. I don't know how that happened. Dream Manifestation is added and can be used within the secondary ability. Requires 2 dream tokens. The Nightmare can teleport to generators at all times. Charge time 2 seconds. Cooldown 20 seconds. Cooldown cancel 3 seconds. Cooldown reduction per survivor in the dream world 10%. Basically just a cracked version of Dream Projection. That's really renamed Dream Manifestation. While I was making the power, I realized that Freddy has a significant lack of map pressure with this new one. So I figured making it an add-on would make everything right. Because if there's one thing we learned about Freddy, giving a lot or very cool aspect of his ability, or making a cool aspect of his ability locked behind add-ons, is something everybody loves. And it's never once gone wrong, ever. It will continue to not go wrong. Yeah. But I don't really think this is necessary to make a main factor of his ability. I feel like as it is, his power is pretty complicated. And I think that Dream, the whole blocking objectives as it is strong enough to keep him, keep his lack of map pressure a non-factor. So hopefully that would work out. I have no idea though. You know what I do know though? Moving on to the perks. Now this is where it gets exactly about as interesting as it probably has been. So, yeah. Alright. So, I really hope the way I edited that makes it sound like I just said yeah the whole time. Moving on to the teachable perks. Or, not teachable perks, that's not a thing anymore. Moving on to the perks. The first of which will be the Final Nightmare. When all generators are finished and a survivor is hooked, one gate will be completely blocked by the entity for 10, 20, and 30 seconds. If a survivor is hooked after either of the gates are open, they'll be blocked for 15, 30, 45 seconds. This is legitimately just a cracked out version of Bloodborne. A Bloodborne that can affect the gates whether they're closed or open. Nothing too special. I just think that Bloodborne's a good perk that has a lot of potential, but is fairly niche. I feel like giving it more while also giving the timer... making the timer a bit longer will make it a bit stronger and more usable. Not a whole lot to add on there, though, so we're going to move on to Never Escape Again. While a generator isn't active, any survivor that enters a 12, 14, 16 meter radius will gain a hindered status effect by 4.5%. For each generator completed, survivors are slowed by an extra 0.5%. When the generators are all complete, you see a survivor's aura within the radius of generators. Auras linger for 2 seconds. Now this one is incredibly beyond frustrating to understand. I made all of this, of course, a while ago. I did some editing to it a while ago, and then I left it as it is. So I was reading this to make sure everything was all right beforehand. It took me a minute to understand what's going on here, so let me break it down to you. For the first sentence, while a generator isn't active, any survivors that enter 12, 14, 16 minute radius will gain the hidden status effect by 4.5 seconds. So essentially, whenever there's an incomplete generator, survivors within a radius will be slowed. That's pretty much it. For each generator completed, survivors are slowed by an extra 0.5% while the generator... No, so that's where that ends, my bad. For this, basically survivors within the radius, they gain an extra 0.5% for each gen done. Kind of like a hindered version of... whatchamacallit? Fire Up. Basically, complete, like, the most value you're going to get out of that is a 6.5% slow when within the radius of generator. This might be a very bad perk, but I feel like the nicheness of it, no, I don't have any way of defending this. This would probably be a bad perk, but it's a fun one, I think. And, you know, oh, I forgot, that's not even the end of it. While the generators are complete, you see survivors' auras while within the radius of generators. Their auras will linger for 2 seconds. I think I read that improperly, but essentially, whenever survivors in the radius of completed generator, you see their aura. I feel like that will make the perk worth running alone. Who knows? Once again, maybe it's complete ass. I wouldn't know, because I can't test it. So yeah, moving on to Welcome to My World. The entity now blocks vaults after they interacted with twice rather than 3 times. When a vault is blocked, you gain the ability to walk through it at a 60, 65, 70% your normal walking speed. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know rather if 70% makes it 70% faster, 70% slower. Like, I really don't know the right way of wording it. I'm pretty sure 70% is the right way to put it. So when you walk through it, you're essentially walking 30% slower than you would be normally. So that'd make it, instead of 115%, which I believe is the current walking speed of killers, or 4.6 killers, you would be walking at 85, which is like your average nurse M1er. So yeah, this one is another one of those funky ones. I don't really know if this one would be too strong or not, but I don't think it would. But I know for a fact it'd be fun. And as I've said, this is all about fun. Yeah. So that's it for all of this. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really enjoyed making this power, or reworking the nightmare. It's a lot of fun going through, looking at some, old killers, thinking what's the best way to make them better now. I hope that you guys enjoyed this power just as much as I enjoyed it and enjoyed making it. If you guys have any critiques, criticisms, or you think it's just complete shit, let me know in the comments. I am more than open to conversation about it. And if you guys would like to, see the power like up close and personal, I will likely leave a link to the document I have most of my killer changes on, if you want to check out any of those as well. And if you want to leave any critiques on the document, it is currently set to comment, so you guys can comment on it. Nonetheless, though, that's it for me. Actually, I should probably talk about this. I have decided to push or kind of spread my schedule more when it comes to uploading. I'm going to be uploading big videos, so anything like bigger than 15-20 minutes, to every other Sunday. But I will start uploading smaller videos, me just talking about stuff, or like a quick little video about a change or information or whatever, or just videos on what's going on in the current update and stuff. I'll try doing those throughout the week. I don't have a set schedule or set in some schedule. I kind of just do it as I feel. Don't expect those kind of videos to be over 10 minutes though, or over 15 minutes, I guess. But yeah, so I am just kind of spreading my schedule out a bit more. I'm going to be honest, it is really hard for me as a student to get out videos every week. Especially when I was trying to get it out 2 times a week. That was too much for me. So I apologize, but this is like just the best way for me to do it without getting burnt out. So, without further ado, and without nothing else to say, I hope you guys enjoyed. And what's a funny word to end this out on?